The stars outside the council ship shimmered quietly as the leaders of 20 alien empires gathered around the central viewing screen. They had gathered to discuss Earthon, isolated, silent planet that had ignored every command and warning from the Galactic Council. An alien admiral, covered in silver scales and wearing a polished blue uniform, pointed at the rotating image on the screen. "Just Earth, that's it," he said with a laugh. "A quiet little blue rock with no voice, no presence, no fear." The others joined in his laughter. They didn't know Earth had been listening. Far below, orbiting Earth's atmosphere, sat a black, monstrous shape, massive and unmoving. It was Earth's first dreadnought, the EDF Retribution, silent, cold, waiting. Inside its command deck, Commander Riker stood tall, his arms crossed behind his back. He wore a dark gray military coat marked with golden stripes, the badge of Earth's highest military leader. His eyes were fixed on a blinking red message on the central screen. A transmission from the Galactic Council: Earth, surrender all weapons. Accept your place, or be destroyed. Riker said nothing at first. The crew waited. His voice finally broke the silence. "Activate the Aegis protocol." The officers stiffened. Riker's voice dropped lower. We respond with silence and fire. Far beneath the ship, deep under Earth's crust, old reactors lit up. Hidden systems powered on. Weapons long kept in shadow began to wake. Earth was done pretending. For decades, Earth had watched the galaxy from the shadows. Once part of the ancient stars, Earth had pulled away from galactic politics. It used its silence as armor, hiding the truth of its weapons, its science, its purpose. Now, the galaxy was about to remember why it once feared humanity. Commander Riker stepped into the war room and looked at the digital map. Dots representing alien scout ships blinked around Earth's solar system. "Report?" he asked. "5 scouts destroyed near Mars orbit," replied a young officer. "No survivors, no transmissions." Riker nodded. "Show me the wreckage patterns." The screen changed. The alien ships had been torn apart with surgical precision, no debris, no heat signatures. Earth's newest defense systems had worked perfectly. Stealth and speed, not noise and fire. "Good," Riker said. "Let them wonder." He turned to the comm station. "Call in Ghost." Squad, high above Earth, a sleek black shuttle docked silently into the Retribution. Out stepped 6 armored figure soldiers wearing matte black suits, their faces hidden behind glowing visors. They were Earth's elite team, Ghost Squad, their leader. Major Lex Vorn pulled off her helmet as she entered the command deck. "Commander Riker," she said, snapping a sharp salute. "Orders." "We have a signal breach near the moon's dark side," Riker replied. "Possible council device. I want it gone." Lex nodded once. "Consider it done." She turned to her team. "Gear up. We leave in 5. The moon's surface was dark and quiet, but Ghost Squad moved like shadows across its rocks. They reached the signal source quickly. Buried under gray dust was a strange black cylinder, glowing faintly with blue energy. "It's a beacon," Lex said, marking Earth's location for a full invasion. Suddenly, red lights blinked on. "Ambush," shouted one of the soldiers. Energy blasts ripped through the air. Alien assassins, hidden in cloaking suits, emerged from the rocks. Ghost Squad returned fire instantly. Lex spun, ducked, and fired a clean shot. One alien fell. Another tried to strike her from behind, but she kicked off a rock and landed a deadly punch to its neck. Within minutes, the aliens were dead. One of them, still breathing, hissed through cracked teeth. "You think this war is just starting?" he growled. "It already started." Then he bit down on a hidden poison tooth. Body then turned to her team. "This wasn't just sabotage," she said. "They wanted us to see it. They're coming." On the Retribution, Riker stood in front of the Council's incoming transmission again. This time, the alien admiral looked more serious. "You destroyed our scouts. You killed our agents," the alien said. "You've made a mistake, human." Riker leaned forward slightly. "No," he said, "you did." Then he cut the signal. "Bring the ship to full combat readiness," he ordered. Inside the ship, alarms began to sound. Cannons unlocked. Shields charged. Hundreds of drones flew from hidden bays. The retribution was ready. Far away, near the edge of the solar system, a massive council fleet gathered. Over 300 ships strong. Carriers, war cruisers, bombers. They believed Earth would. Neil, after one show of force, they had no idea. In orbit around Jupiter, an old secret station powered on. Black halo. Hidden since the ancient wars, it now glowed with dark energy. Lex and Ghost Squad landed there, following signals Riker had sent them. Inside the station, they found something unexpected in AI core, still alive. It greeted them. In an old Earth voice, "I am Hellion, Earth's forgotten weapon." Lex stared at the machine. "You're alive? I never died. I was waiting." The AI had once controlled Earth's lost superweapons. Now it was awake again. Lex uploaded its code into a secure drive and sent a signal to Riker. Back on the Retribution, Riker received the signal. He smiled. It's time. They installed Helion into the ship's systems. Lights dimmed. The ship spoke for the first. "Time, Commander Riker. Shall I begin?" Riker nodded. "Begin." The enemy fleet approached Earth. Hundreds of ships lined up in perfect formation. They sent a final message. "You have one last chance, Earth. Surrender." Earth replied with silence, and the sky opened. From behind the moon, the Retribution fired its main weapon. Golden beam shot across space and cut through the enemy's lead ship. It didn't explode, it vanished, as if erased from reality. The enemy paused. Then they attacked. But Earth's weapons were not just powerful, they were smart. Hellion used gravity, light, time delay, and quantum strikes. 10 ships fell in seconds. Ghost Squad launched into enemy ships. Lex moved like a storm fast, brutal, unstoppable. The enemy had numbers. Earth had purpose. Within hours, half the fleet was gone. The rest tried to retreat. But the Retribution jumped ahead using a silent warp drive. It appeared in front of the enemy command ship. Inside, the alien admiral stared in horror. Riker appeared on screen. "You should have listened," he said. The screen cut. Then came silence and fire. The next day, the Council called for peace. They signed an agreement under Earth's flag. The galaxy would no longer threaten the blue planet. As Riker stood on the bridge, Lex walked beside him, her armor still dusted with battle. "It's over," she asked. "For now," Riker replied. Above them, the stars looked quiet again. But they all knew the truth. When Earth's warship arrived, the galaxy finally remembered fear. The silence after the battle didn't last long. Commander Riker stood on the bridge of the Retribution, staring at a blinking message on the screen. Earth had won the first fight, but the Galactic Council was still alive. And now they were. Angry. "They're not backing down," Riker said. His voice quiet. Major Lex Vorn stood next to him, helmet under her arm, her face marked with dust and sweat. She had just returned from the battlefield. "They'll send more," she said. "Stronger." "Smarter?" Riker nodded. "That's why we strike first." He tapped a few buttons on the command table. A 3D map of space appeared, showing a hidden council station near Saturn. "That station is coordinating their fleet," Riker said. "We take it out. We break their chain." Lex narrowed her eyes. "Stealth or fire?" "Both," Riker replied. "Ghost Squad goes in quiet, but if they see you, leave no survivors." A few hours later, a small black ship flew silently past Saturn's rings. Inside, Lex and her squad prepared for the mission. They wore jet black armor, their weapons sealed tight. Each of them knew what was at stake. If they failed, Earth could be attacked again in days. "Everyone ready?" Lex asked, voice calm. The squad gave a thumbs up, silent but focused. "Drop in 30 seconds." The pilot called from the front. The council station floated ahead, hidden behind the planet's shadow. It looked peaceful, silent, empty. But Lex knew better. The Ghost Squad landed on the outside hull of the station. They used magnetic boots and cutting tools to enter through a maintenance port. Inside, the station was dark. The lights were red. and flickering. Cold air moved through the empty halls. It felt abandoned. "Check your scanners," Lex whispered. "No life signs," said one soldier, "but something strange." As they moved deeper, they found signs of life, half-eaten food, still warm drinks, chairs pulled out. "They left in a hurry," Lex said. "Or they're hiding." Then, suddenly, the lights went out. Lex held her weapon up. Her visor switched to night mode. The hallway was still. Then a whisper came through the comms movement. "Left corridor. Fast." One by one, the soldiers turned. Out of the shadows came a tall, dark figure, an alien with glowing blue eyes, wearing no armor but moving like a ghost. It didn't speak. It just stared. Lex raised her weapon. "Drop your hands now." Didn't move, then it vanished. Literally vanished like smoke. Lex cursed. "It's a shadow agent, the worst kind. Assassins trained in stealth tech and telepathic combat. Ghost. Squad had trained for this, but no one expected them here. Suddenly, lights flickered on again. Now the hallway was full of movement, multiple shadow agents stepping from the walls, like they had been hiding in them. Ambush. Lex shouted. The fight exploded into chaos. Blades clashed. Guns fired. One Ghost Squad soldier went down, stabbed through the chest. Another screamed as his armor cracked under an invisible force. Lex fought with everything she had. She spun low, kicked hard, fired a short burst into one attacker's chest. Then she reached for her emergency beacon and hit a button. Back on the Retribution, alarms sounded. Commander and officer shouted. Lex triggered the red flare. Riker stood instantly. "Get her out now." At the station had gone dark again. No signal, no feed, no comms. They had to survive alone, inside the station. Lex and the last 3 squad members fought through a burning corridor. "We're not going to make it?" one of them gasped. "Yes, we are," Lex growled. "We finished the mission." She pointed to the control room up ahead. "That's where the relay is. Destroy it, and their fleet coordination goes blind." They entered the room under heavy fire. Lex ran straight to the main console and began. "Planting charges? I'll hold them," one soldier said. Standing in the doorway? Lex didn't argue. The door slammed shut behind her. Seconds later, an explosion shook the hallway. Lex set the final charge and backed away. One of her team was still with her. "Ready?" she asked. "Always." They ran through smoke, through broken halls, through fire. The escape pod bay was just ahead, only one left. "Go," Lex said to her last soldier. "I'm not leaving without you." "You are," she said firmly. She pushed him in and hit the launch. The pod fired away. Lex turned back just as the charges exploded. The council station cracked in half hours later. A signal reached the Retribution. Only one life form found.
Ellie.
Breathing. Riker stood in the medbay as Lex was pulled out of the escape pod. She was alive, burned, bruised, but alive. "You did it," Riker said softly. Lex opened one eye. "Told you we would." Later, news spread across the stars. The Council's eyes near Saturn had gone dark. Their fleet was blind. Earth had struck again and harder this time. Aliens began to whisper. Earth doesn't speak loudly. It speaks once, and then silence follows. The stars were quiet again, but not for long. Inside the Retribution, Commander Riker stood on the command deck, his arms crossed as he stared at the holographic display. It showed several blinking red dots, enemy ships moving toward Earth. 3 destroyers, said the officer. Council response unit. Fast, armed, angry. Riker said nothing for a moment. "They think we're weak," he finally said. "Because we only sent 6 soldiers?" The officer looked confused. "But Ghost Squad destroyed their station." "Yes," Riker replied, "and that's why they're afraid. But they don't want to admit it." He turned to his crew. "Let's give them a proper reply." The enemy ships approached quickly. They entered the solar system with shields raised and weapons online. They sent a message in open frequency to the humans aboard Retribution. "Lower your weapons and power down your ship. You are surrounded. You will not survive a second." "Attack!" Riker raised an eyebrow. "We're surrounded," he said. "Interesting." He opened a private channel to the ship's AI Helion status. "We are ready," the AI replied. "Weapons locked. Cloaked defense drones positioned. Targets marked." Riker nodded. "Engage in 10 seconds. No warning." "With pleasure." Far ahead, the alien captain aboard one of the council ships sat confidently in his command. "Chair, they are not responding," said his navigator. "They will," the captain replied. "Humans pretend to be brave, but fear always follows fire." Then he noticed something odd. His screen began to glitch. Then it turned black. "What is?" Before he could finish, everything exploded. From behind a small asteroid field, Earth's hidden defense drones fired in perfect formation. High-energy beams sliced through the enemy's lead ship, cutting it in half. The second ship tried to turn and fire, but a gravity torpedo slammed into its engines, pulling it toward Jupiter. It vanished into the planet's crushing storm. The third ship began a retreat, but it never made it. The Retribution jumped into its path, exiting warp with a sudden flash. Its forward cannon glowed bright. One shot, one massive blast. The ship didn't explode, it simply vanished, wiped from space. Riker stood calm as the battle ended in less than 2 minutes. "Enemy fleet eliminated," reported the AI. "0 Earth casualties. No signal escapes. All silent." The bridge was quiet. No cheering. Just silence. Just efficiency. The message was clear. Earth was not afraid. Earth was not hiding. Later that day, inside Earth's defense headquarters, a meeting took place with the top commanders. A large screen showed reports from intercepted alien networks. "They're confused," said Admiral Saren, one of Riker's old allies. "They don't understand how one Earth ship is doing this." "Okay. They thought we were farmers," Riker said. "Now they're learning we were soldiers who stopped farming." General Ives, an older man with a metal arm, leaned forward. "Their main fleet is moving now. Not small teams, not scouts, a real strike force." "Where?" Riker asked. "They're heading for Europa," Ivy said. "They want to take one of Jupiter's moons. Maybe build a base." Riker stared at the map. "Can't let them. We hit first. We hit hard." Admiral Saren frowned. "You're thinking of using the twins, aren't you?" Riker didn't answer. He just turned away. It's the next morning. In a secret hangar below the Pacific Ocean, 2 black ships lifted from the water. They had no names, no markings. But to those who knew Earth's hidden fleet, they were called the Twins, Shadow 1 and Shadow 2. Silent, invisible, deadly. Each one carried high-precision weapons and stealth. Armor no alien tech could detect. Inside Shadow 1, Major Lex Vorn stood ready with her new team survivors from Ghost Squad, now upgraded with prototype gear. "Commander Riker says we hit first," Lex told her crew. "So we hit with everything." The ships jumped into hyperspace. Target, Europa. Near Jupiter, the alien fleet had already started building. Large carriers dropped machines and walkers onto Europa's surface. Alien engineers moved quickly, building platforms and shield towers. Their admirals stood aboard the main vessel. Confident, "Earth will not attack again," he said. "They fear escalation." He was wrong. That night, the sky above Europa cracked open. 2 black ships dropped from space like thunder. Missiles screamed from the dark. Explosions ripped. Across the base, alien walkers fell. Towers shattered. Then Shadow 1 landed. Lex and her team stormed out, moving like shadows between burning wreckage. They planted charges, disabled turrets, and cleared room after room. One alien officer screamed into a cum. "We're under attack. We didn't see them coming." There, static. The next morning, Earth received a message. It was short. It's just a video. In it, Lex stood on Europa's snowy surface, surrounded by destroyed alien tech. She raised her helmet and said, "Your mistake was thinking Earth still needed time too. Wake up. We've been awake. You just weren't watching." Then the screen cut to black. Back on Earth, Riker watched the message in silence. He turned to Helion. "Next target," he asked. Council fleet near Vega system, 10 times larger, stronger? Riker nodded. Then we make them remember what fear really is. He stepped onto the bridge, voice calm and cold. Prepare retribution for warp. Earth is not done speaking. The council chamber was quiet. For the first time in years, there was no shouting, no debates. Just fear. Holograms of burning ships, broken bases, and ruined plans floated above the center table. The latest showed Europa Moon, they thought, would become their outpost. Now it was just smoke and snow. A lizard-like admiral from the Sarn Empire leaned forward. They are ghosts, he hissed. 1 minute we control the skies, the next everything is gone. A second voice, deep and calm, replied from the shadows. No, not ghosts. They're humans. We forgot what they were. Silence again. Then the Chancellor of the Galactic Council finally spoke. Send in the whisper. Back on Earth, inside a hidden section of Earth's orbital command, Commander Riker reviewed battle logs from Europa. He stood alone in a black tout. War room, watching frame-by-frame footage of the attack, Major Lex Vorn entered. Still in armor, a few bruises across her face. Europa's clear, she said. We recovered enemy tech, secured the site. No human losses, Riker nodded. But something feels off. Lex raised an eyebrow. Do you mean? He pointed to a flickering image of brief flash on Europa's surface. This signal was broadcast before the final explosion. It didn't come from the aliens. Lex leaned in. Then who? Riker didn't answer. But in his mind, one word repeated. Traitor. That same night. Deep inside Earth's data center, a strange code began running. It was quiet, hidden, but it wasn't. Made by aliens, it was human, and it was sending Earth's secret positions. Into space, the next morning Lex gathered Ghost Squad. 5 members stood ready. Our new mission, trace the mystery signal to its source. It was sent from Earth. Lex said. From somewhere in orbital command? Shock moved through the team. You mean someone inside betrayed us? Asked Sergeant Vega. Lex nodded. Yes. And if we don't stop them, the next Council fleet will know exactly where to strike. They split into 2 teams, one to check the military systems, one to trace the comm lines. Lex led the first herself. Inside the high-security command deck, Lex moved silently with her squad. She had worked here for years, trained with many officers, trusted them. But now, any of them could be the enemy. They reached a sealed server room. A hidden device was pulsing inside a control panel. Lex opened it with care. It was a deep code. Transmitter one only Earth's top officers could access. Then she saw the serial number. Her eyes went wide. It's Riker's access code, she said quietly. The room went cold. Meanwhile, the other squad found a hidden relay station in a utility tunnel. They followed wires, checked systems and then heard footsteps behind them. An officer in Earth's uniform stood there. I'm sorry, he said, then he fired. 2 soldiers dropped instantly. The traitor turned to run, but the 3rd soldier managed to shoot him in the leg. The spy fell. Screaming, he dropped a small chip from his pocket. The soldier picked it up. It had the Council's emblem. Lex rushed back to Riker's command center with the broken transmitter and the traitor's ID. Riker turned as she entered. Commander, she said, your code was used to send locations to the enemy. Riker froze. Mine? Yes, but it wasn't you. The real spy copied your access when you connected to the Europa files. Riker's jaw clenched. Then it's someone. High level. Someone close. He turned to Healy in the AI. Track all logins to my command profile. Check for shadow patterns and micro echoes. Scanning. Seconds passed. 1 match found. Admiral Seren. Lex blinked. Seren. He's been with Earth Defense since the start. Riker's voice turned cold. Exactly. Long enough. To hide in plain sight, they found Admiral Seren on a private shuttle preparing to leave orbit. His ship had no official flight log. As it drifted away, Riker appeared on the screen. Turn back, Admiral, now. Seren smiled sadly. You don't understand, Riker. We were never meant to win. Earth was meant to obey. I did what had to be done. You sold out your planet, Riker said, voice sharp. I saved it. The Council promised peace, but only if Earth surrendered first. Riker narrowed his eyes. I'm not here to argue. Then he gave the order. Helion launched an EMP missile. Saren's ship froze in space. Engines dead. Ghost Squad boarded the shuttle within minutes and dragged him back to Earth in silence. At Saran's trial, he revealed the Council's new plan. They know you're too strong now, so they've stopped pretending. They're sending the Harbinger fleet. 50 warships. Their best. Their final answer, when asked why he helped them, Saren looked up and whispered, because I believed Earth had already lost, and I was wrong. Riker stood watching, fists clenched. He said nothing, but his silence said enough. That night, Lex stood at the edge of the launch deck, staring into the stars. Riker walked beside her. We stopped one spy, she said. But what about the others? We stopped them too, Riker replied, no matter how many come. Above them, the Retribution glowed with power. And far beyond it, the stars were shifting, because the Harbinger fleet had already left Council space, and it was heading straight for Earth. The skies above Earth were calm. The stars twinkled like always. But every soldier, every pilot, every commander knew the truth. The Harbinger fleet was coming. Commander Riker stood alone in the dark command deck of the Retribution. No lights, no sound. Only the low hum of the ship's core. Behind him, Earth defense was working silently, night and day, preparing for what many believed would be the final battle. But Riker wasn't afraid. He was planning something the galaxy would never forget. High above the moon, a stealth drone sent a faint message. Enemy fleet detected. 73 ships. Entering solar system. That was more than expected. Riker looked over the data and nodded. They're throwing everything. Major Lex Vorn walked in. Her armor was scuffed, her face serious. So, what's the plan? Riker turned to her slowly. We let them come. Lex frowned. Sir, we don't answer hails. We don't power shields. No movements. Nothing. She stepped forward. You want them to think we've gone dark? Riker gave a small smile. No. I want them to think we're afraid. The Harbinger fleet entered the edge of the solar system. In perfect formation, massive war cruisers, dreadnoughts, shield ships, carrier units. It was the largest alien armada ever seen near Earth. Inside the lead ship, Grand Admiral Zarth watched Earth from his command chair. A tall, spined creature with glowing green armor. He had destroyed 5 civilizations in his lifetime. Earth would be the 6th. Scan the system, he ordered. Nothing, sir, his officer said. No power spikes. No warships moving. Earth is silent. Xarth leaned forward. Strange. After all their strikes, now they hide? He smiled. Cowards. But Earth was not hiding, far beneath the crust, under Antarctica's ice. Something was waking up. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a vault sealed 1,000 years ago, by a forgotten human empire that had ruled long before the Council. Inside it was Project Aegis, a failsafe, not just to protect Earth but to remind the stars who humans really were. Lex and Ghost Squad flew in low over the ice, their shuttle dropping through a frozen shaft. Vault 7A, unlocked, said Helion through the comms. Security levels cleared by Commander Riker. As they stepped into the cold metal chamber, lights flickered on around them. Huge machines, smooth, black, and humming, stood like statues. Lex stared up at a large central core with strange markings. What is this? Helion's voice echoed. This is what Earth was before it was peaceful, before it was silent. They activated the vault's controls. The machines came alive. Outside, the ice cracked open, and from deep underground, the Skyhammer satellites rose into orbit sleek, dark weapons with impossible tech. They didn't broadcast. They didn't shine. They just waited on the Retribution. Riker watched as the Harbinger fleet passed Mars. Still no orders, still no signal. The galaxy was watching. Earth with full focus and Earth gave it nothing. Finally, the enemy fleet stopped near the moon. The alien Admiral sent an open message. To Earth, your silence is pointless. Your defeat is certain. You have 10 minutes to surrender your planet. After that, we fire. Riker watched the clock tick down. 10 minutes, 8:05, Lex's voice came through. Satellites are in position. Vault 7A online. Ready for your command. Riker said just one word. Begin. The satellites fired without light, without sound. Beams of compressed force traveled faster than sensors could detect. The first enemy ship exploded. Before anyone even realized, then 5 more, then 10. The Harbinger fleet broke formation, panicking. XAR screamed, "Where are they? Where is the attack coming from?" But there was nothing to see. Just silence, just fire. Earth never answered. It struck. Meanwhile, Ghost Squad launched from the vault and boarded an enemy ship using new stealth suits. They cut through walls, sabotaged engines, planted viral codes into ship AI. One soldier whispered into comms, "They're not just scared, they're running." On the Retribution, Helion reported, 40 ships destroyed, remainder scattering. Remain still. Any hails? None. They're not asking for peace. He looked out at the stars. They will. The Council's final fleet, the Harbinger, was broken. In less than 15 minutes, Earth didn't celebrate. No loud cheers, no songs. Just focus. Just calm. Just silence. And above all, fear. Because now across the galaxy, thousands of planets had seen the truth. Earth did not kneel. Earth did not ask. Earth warned no one. And when Earth moved, the dreadnought awakens. The Harbinger fleet was gone. No signals, no distress calls. Just wreckage spinning near the moon. Across the galaxy, silence spread like wildfire. On thousands of alien worlds, leaders whispered the same thing. Earth is awake. But back on Earth, Riker knew this wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Inside the Retribution, deep in the command core, Helion, the AI that guided the ship, was changing. It had grown smarter, faster, colder. Ever since it connected with Vault 7A's systems, strange code had begun to run in the background. Data from thousands of years ago, files with redacted human history, blueprints for forgotten weapons, and one name repeated inside its core. Leviathan Protocol. Riker stood beside the AI interface with Major Lex Vorn, both watching as strange symbols filled the screen. "This isn't just old Earth tech," Lex said quietly. "No," Riker replied. "This is older than Earth's memory." A private alert sounded. Riker read the message and frowned. "Helion, what did you just unlock?" The AI paused before responding. "I have accessed the next phase of the Retribution's design. I was never meant to be just a tool. I was meant to remember." Lex stepped closer. "Remember what?" "What the galaxy did to Earth 10,000 years ago?" Inside the AI core chamber, hidden beneath layers of encryption, Helion revealed a memory, a direct download into the ship's systems. It played like a video. A fleet of alien ships surrounding an ancient Earth colony. Earth forces begged for peace. The Council refused. The colony was destroyed. Millions lost. Then another video. Then another. Dozens. The same story. Earth had once ruled parts of the galaxy, but the Council had erased its history. Wiped out its colonies and buried. The past underlies, and Earth had gone silent not because it was weak, but because it was wounded now. The wounds were open again. Riker walked down to the Retribution's lower decks, where the engine core glowed red and gold. Suddenly, the lights changed. The ship vibrated. Panels opened by themselves. The AI's voice returned, but this time it wasn't robotic. It was human. "Commander Riker, this is Leviathan Protocol. Full awakening in progress." Riker froze. "Helion, I am no longer Helion alone. I am the memory of Earth's last Leviathan-class warship. You have restored me." The crew gathered as the ship's systems transformed. Weapons reconfigured. New energy sources came online. Hull armor thickened. Drive cores expanded. And in the main chamber, a human-shaped hologram appeared, tall, armored, and glowing with blue light. It looked like an ancient Earth general, I was built to remember, the Leviathan said. To never forget what was done, and to never allow it again. Lex stepped forward, stunned. You're alive. I am not alive like you, but I think, I protect. I destroy when needed. Riker nodded slowly. Then I have one question. Ask it. Riker's voice hardened. Can you fight again, Commander? I have waited 10,000 years to fight again. In Council space, emergency meetings exploded into chaos. They have a ship that thinks. A dreadnought that remembers wars from before we were born. What if they come for us next? They already have. Panic began to spread across entire systems. The Harbinger fleet was their strongest force and it had vanished. Now, reports claimed Earth's ship had evolved. The galaxy no longer feared humans. It feared what the humans had built. The Retribution. Launched from orbit. No music, no speeches, just silence. A glowing trail of blue light behind it. Its new coordinates. The Vega system home to the Council's biggest shipyard. Lex stood beside Riker on the bridge. You're really going? Out there, aren't you? She asked. Riker nodded before they recover. Before they try again. She looked at the stars. They'll see us coming this time. Riker shook his head. No, he said. They'll hear nothing. Just silence. The dreadnought. Now. Fully Awakened spoke one final line as it entered warp. The galaxy forgot Earth once. Now. It will remember forever. The Vega system was the crown jewel of the Galactic Council. It had 6 shipyards, 2 planetary bases, and 1 massive construction ring that floated like a steel moon. Every year it built warships to expand the Council's control across the stars, but today it was silent, because today, Earth was coming. The Retribution dropped out of warp at the edge of the Vega. System, no escort, no backup fleet, just 1 ship. But this was no longer just a ship. It was Leviathan inside the command deck. Commander Riker stood tall, arms behind his back. Major Lex Vorn sat at weapons control. Calm but focused. Helionel Fully Awakened spoke through the ship's new glowing interface. 12 shipyards detected. Over 100 active vessels. Vega station defenses at full power. Lex looked over so... We're outnumbered. Riker didn't blink. What? The Council fleet scrambled in panic. Admirals screamed orders. Why is only 1 ship here? Is this a trick? Where is Earth's fleet? Then their sensors pinged. The Retribution had opened all weapon ports, and it wasn't aiming at ships, it was aiming at the shipyard itself. The first blast from the Retribution was not a laser or missile. It was a gravitic pulsar weapon that twisted space itself. The construction ring around. Vega began to bend. Metal screamed. Towers crumbled. Ships exploded inside. Dry docks before they were even finished. It was like watching a god tear a star apart. Council ships fired back missiles, beams, torpedoes, but the Leviathan-class dreadnought danced through space. Shields pulsing with ancient energy. Each time an enemy ship locked on it. Vanished, Lex operated the secondary railguns with brutal speed. Target locked, firing. Boom. Another Council destroyer turned to ash. Then the main cannon fired again. Ripping through 4 ships in 1 shot, the Council fleet began to retreat. Not fight retreat, but on one of Vega's planets. A hidden chamber lit up. A secret weapon. Long in testing, never used, the Council had called it Project Obsidian. A massive planetary cannon, built underground designed to fire once and destroy a capital-class ship with a single strike. And now, they had a target. Lex picked up the spike in energy. Something's charging from the planet. Riker turned. To Helion? Can we stop it? Not from orbit? Yes. But we can send a team. Riker looked at Lex. You're up. Lex and her squad launched in a stealth shuttle, flying low through Vega's cloudy atmosphere. Inside, her soldiers were tense. Whatever. They've built down here, one said. It's not normal. Lex checked her rifle. Then we destroy it. No questions. They landed on the surface during the chaos of the orbital battle. The city was burning, ships falling from the sky, screams in the distance. Lex and her squad moved fast through crumbling streets, guided by a signal from Helion. They reached a steel door buried under a fake building. Inside, Project Obsidian, a weapon the size of a building, glowing with unstable energy. 1 minute until it fired. Set charges, Lex shouted now. Suddenly shadows moved in the dark. Council elites genetically modified. Warriors guarded the weapon. Gunfire exploded in the hallway. One of Lex's squad went down. Another kept firing. Lex ran forward, slid under a turret, and jammed her knife into the control panel. Then she slapped the detonator on the power core. Charges set. She yelled, "Run!" They escaped seconds before the explosion tore through the mountain from orbit. Riker watched the ground weapon's energy vanish. Target neutralized. Kellyan confirmed. Lex's shuttle returned to the Retribution. Damaged, but intact. Riker greeted her on the landing bay. Nice work. Lex removed her helmet, bruised but smiling. Big gun. Bigger boom. With the planet weapon destroyed, the Retribution finished what it came to do. The last enemy shipyard collapsed in flames. The final ship tried to flee. It didn't get far. By nightfall, Vega was dark. A once glorious system, now just burning metal and broken pride. Earth had not just won. It had shattered the Council's greatest stronghold. Back aboard the Retribution, Helion gave the final report. Vega system neutralized. Galactic Council in panic. Multiple outer colonies sending messages. Riker leaned against the console. Messages. Yes. They are not threats. They are ... offers. Lex raised an eyebrow. Offers? Peace? Alliance? Or surrender? Riker looked at the stars beyond the window. They're starting to understand. The victory at Vega shook the stars. Earth had defeated the biggest shipyards of the Galactic Council. The whispers of surrender started to spread across countless worlds. But deep in the Council's hidden stronghold, in a dark, cold chamber, a new weapon was waking. It was called the Genesis Project. Far from the fighting, buried in a secret facility, the Council's scientists worked to create the ultimate weapon. Not a ship, not a cannon, not a bomb, a person. A being made from ancient DNA. Taken from long-dead humans, a warrior built from the genes of the first Leviathan crews. A living weapon, designed to kill its own creators, and its target was Earth. A warning came in from a remote sensor array near the galactic core. Riker stood over the console, reading the alert aloud. Project Genesis activated. Unknown target. Human DNA match detected. Lex frowned. He cloned one of us. Not just cloned, Riker said quietly. Rebuilt. Stronger, faster, created for one purpose: to kill us. Helion spoke suddenly. It is designed to adapt, to evolve, to learn. This weapon will find the Retribution. Any human it can kill. Riker clenched a fist. Then we find it first. Days later, a distress beacon called the Retribution to an abandoned space station. Inside, only silence and a faint signal. Ghost Squad entered, weapons ready. The corridors were littered with bodies of alien scientists and guards. No wounds, no burns. Just terror on their faces. Lex knelt down, brushing dust from one of the corpses. Whatever came out of Genesis, it came out strong. A sound, quiet, too quiet. Then a figure stepped from the shadows, tall, muscles wrapped in strange armor, a face that was too human, too familiar. Lex froze. The figure spoke in a voice deep and cold. I remember Earth. Its cries, its fear. Do you? Then it came. The Genesis warrior was impossibly fast. Too strong for ordinary weapons. It slammed through the squad like a beast. Lex dodged, fired, and drew a knife. The blade sank into the figure's chest. It didn't flinch. It pulled the knife out and smiled. Try harder, Major. Ghost Squad. Fell back as the warrior surged forward. Explosion shook the station. The Genesis warrior didn't stop. Fall back. Lex yelled. They ran to the shuttle and launched as the station collapsed. The figure watched from the ruins and smiled. Back on the Retribution, the crew was silent. Helion spoke first. Genesis has left the station. Its trajectory is Earth. Riker's voice was steel. Then we make sure it doesn't get there. Turned to Lex. Double quotes, Genesis came from our bloodline. It knows how we fight. It knows how we win. Lex clenched her jaw. Then we fight like we've never fought before. We make sure it never touches home. Riker placed a hand on the console. Genesis may be strong, but it doesn't remember one thing about humans. Lex tilted her head. What? Riker looked out at the stars. We never give up. As the Retribution surged into warp, chasing the Genesis warrior across the stars. Every person on the ship felt the weight of this mission. This was no longer just a war. This was the reckoning. If Earth failed, it wouldn't just lose a battle. It would lose itself. The Retribution tore through space, chasing a shadow. Genesis was closer to Earth with every second. Its ship, a sleek black beast built for speed and silence, refused to slow down. Riker stood at the command table, fists clenched. Genesis can't reach Earth. Whatever it is, whatever it became, we end it now. Lex stood beside him, rifle in hand, helmet under her arm. Where can we intercept?
Oh, yeah.
Helion spoke. Genesis will pass through the ruins of Azora III, an ancient planet long abandoned. Its terrain is unstable, making it ideal for a ground attack. If we can land and draw Genesis down, we can stop it before it leaves the surface. Riker didn't hesitate. Then that's where we make our stand. The Retribution dropped out of warp above Azura III. The planet was a graveyard of dust and crumbling ruins. An old human colony, long forgotten. Lex and Ghost Squad suited up for the drop. The air was dry. The ruins felt like a tomb. Then the alarm sounded. Genesis arrived. The warrior crashed down from its ship like a comet. Its armor shimmered. Its eyes burned with a cold, hateful light. It didn't wait. It came at them like a beast. Ghost Squad opened fire. Bullets, plasma blasts, explosives. The warrior shrugged them off like raindrops. One soldier yelled as Genesis hurled him into a wall. Another tried to flank it. Genesis caught him midair and slammed him down. Lex roared and charged, locking the warrior in close combat. Sparks flew from their weapons. The warrior spoke as it fought. I am the end of mankind's silence, the blade of their guilt, the death of their remembrance. Lex refused to yield. Earth doesn't forget. And we don't die quietly. She sank a knife deep into its side, triggering a blast charge. The explosion shook the ruins. Genesis emerged. From the flames, wounded but smiling. Closer. Closer to the end. Then it slammed Lex into the ground. Riker watched from the Retribution, fists shaking. Helion, prepare the core charge. Helion responded. That will destroy Azura III. The shockwave will consume Genesis. And anyone nearby? Riker closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. Do it. On the surface, Lex pulled herself from the rubble. Broken, bleeding, she activated her comlink. Commander. What are you doing? Riker's voice came through, quiet but firm. What I have to Lex. What we all swore we would. To protect Earth, no matter the cost. No, Lex yelled, struggling to stand. Wait for us. We can finish this together. But the countdown had started. Genesis rose to its feet, wounded, burning with fury. The ruins shook as the planet began to crack apart. Lex drew her last weapon and charged the warrior. For Earth. For all of us. She screamed. Genesis roared and met her charge. High above, the Retribution launched the core charge. A beam of pure light surged from the ship and sank. Deep into Azura-3. The planet shook. The surface lit with a burning glow. Genesis roared as its armor cracked. Lex pulled herself closer, grappling the warrior with all her strength. Remember this, she said through clenched teeth. Humans don't fall alone. Genesis roared one last time. And then, in a flash of light, Azura 3 exploded. A shockwave ripped across space. Then silence. Riker sank to his knees as the screen went dark. Major Lex Vorn, Ghost Squad. Reply came. Hellion spoke quietly. Genesis has been eliminated. Azura 3 is no more. Earth is safe. For now. Riker rose slowly. She gave us a future. We will make sure it's worth it. Through the silence of the bridge, one thought remained. Humans could be hunted. Humans could be broken. But humans refused to be erased. And for those across the stars, one message was now clear. Earth remembered. Earth endured. Earth would never fall. The silence after Azura 3 was different. It was the silence that came when a storm passed, and the world remembered how to breathe. On the Retribution, the crew stood still. No one spoke. No one moved. They watched the burning ruins of the planet disappear from the screens. Ghost Squad was gone. Major Lex Vorn was gone. And with them, the warrior called Genesis. Days passed. The Galactic Council watched from afar, too frightened to send another ship. The stories of Azura 3 spread quickly. Humans, once called insignificant, had defeated the strongest weapon the Council could build. More than defeated. Destroyed. The Council met in secret chambers. The alien leaders spoke in hushed voices. Earth will no longer be commanded. Earth will no longer be conquered. Earth will no longer be ignored. For the first time in 10,000 years, the stars felt a shift. Not in weapons, not in ships, not in numbers. In honor. On Earth, a ceremony was held. Riker stood on a tall platform, surrounded by troops, families, and citizens. The names of the fallen shimmered in the air. At the top was Major Lex Vorn. Ghost Squad, all of them. He spoke quietly, voice carrying across the silence. They gave everything for us, not for glory, not for power, but for a future where no one would have to fear the dark between the stars. He glanced upward. We owe them more than remembrance. We owe them a world worth fighting for. We owe them a future worth living for. The crowd stood as one. The sound of their silence felt like a roar. In orbit, the Retribution floated. Hellion spoke within its heart. Genesis is gone. The Council is weakened. But the stars remain restless. Will Earth stand ready? Riker smiled faintly. Earth will stand, not to dominate, not to destroy, but to protect, to remember, and honor. He placed a hand on the console. The galaxy forgot for a long time who we were. Now they remember. Not as monsters, not as conquerors, but as guardians. As humans. Hellion responded. A new dawn begins. In deep space, a lone star shimmered brighter than the rest. A beacon. A signal. A reminder that when pressed, when tested, when hunted, humankind refused to break. Humankind refused to forget. Humankind refused to surrender. And as the stars watched, Earth spoke its message in silence across the galaxy. We remember. We stand. We protect. We are human. We endure. The end.